2022 marks 200 years since Jean-François Champollion famously cracked the code. He deciphered ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs.
AI has finally unlocked the hidden messages buried in the pyramid's secret hieroglyphs.
But there was something missing. All these incredible objects were covered in beguiling hieroglyphic inscriptions, and yet nobody could understand a word of it.
What it uncovered could rewrite human history, revealing truths about our past that will leave you stunned.
An AI that is vastly smarter than any human on Earth, and ultimately smarter than all humans on Earth combined.
Google's DeepMind is an artificial intelligence system that uses deep learning to solve complex problems by mimicking the neural networks of the human brain. It works by processing vast amounts of data to identify patterns, make decisions, and even learn independently over time. Initially used for games like chess and Go, DeepMind now applies its capabilities to fields like healthcare, climate research, and archaeology. For ancient Egypt discoveries, DeepMind could be revolutionary. That's why it's one of the main AIs being used today. It can analyze massive data sets from archaeological digs, satellite imagery, and ancient texts. With it, we can read hieroglyphs and translate them more accurately than ever before. DeepMind could bring us answers to questions we've been asking for centuries. AI has already begun its work here. 2. Translating the Akkadian cuneiform with AI. Traditionally, the translation of cuneiform tablets was a very difficult process that needed extensive knowledge of ancient languages and symbols. While there are people who've made strides in this field, there's only so much a human can do. But AI doesn't really have the same type of limitations a person does. That's why AI is being used to translate the Akkadian cuneiform. AI models, particularly those based on deep learning, can scan thousands of cuneiform symbols and documents to find recurring patterns and connections between symbols and meanings. This drastically speeds up the process of identifying syllables and grammatical structures. Using natural language processing techniques, AI can interpret the syntax and semantics of Akkadian, learning the rules of the language and applying them to unknown texts. 3. It's happened before with scrolls. Researchers have made a breakthrough in decoding nearly 2,000-year-old scrolls buried by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, which destroyed the Roman city of Herculaneum. The scrolls, preserved but carbonized under volcanic ash, have been virtually impossible to read because of the delicate and brittle state they're in. But that's if we were working on them just by hand. A collaboration between engineers, papyrologists, and artificial intelligence has led to the successful deciphering of portions of these ancient texts. Using high-resolution X-ray imaging, researchers scanned the scrolls, capturing detailed internal structures of the rolled-up documents. AI was then used to analyze the scans, learning to identify the faint traces of ink that were previously invisible to the human eye. Through this process, AI algorithms could highlight patterns and recognize letters and words within the dense layers of the scroll. 4. Like deciphering incomplete fragments of ancient languages, like Minoan Linear A. While researchers have deciphered many languages in the past, there are some, like the incomplete or undecoded languages, like Minoan Linear A, that just don't have enough information to fully decipher. Despite years of study, Linear A, used by the Minoans on Crete around 1800 to 1450 BCE, is still a language that researchers haven't fully been able to work their way through. Unlike its counterpart Linear B, which was decoded in the 1950s and linked to Mycenaean Greek, Linear A's script hasn't been fully understood because of a lack of bilingual texts and incomplete fragments. With AI's pattern recognition, and deep learning capabilities, it can crack Linear A's code. AI can analyze known fragments, detect patterns in the writing, and compare it to other ancient languages to predict possible meanings. 5. Hieroglyphs may also contain the lost knowledge of pyramid construction methods. While we have theories about how the pyramids were built, we haven't been able to translate any potential records explaining the exact construction process. That's because there's just so much material out there to translate and look through. And for the ancient Egyptians, this would have been general information because they were building them all the time. With AI, we can skim through millions of hieroglyphs and come closer to specific tools, mathematical calculations, or architectural techniques that allowed the Egyptians to move and position massive stone blocks with precision. They can also shed light on the organization and logistics behind the workforce, revealing how laborers were housed, fed, and coordinated. 6. Instructions for constructing the Great Pyramid. For centuries, scholars and engineers have speculated on how the Egyptians built such a massive structure with primitive tools and technology. Detailed hieroglyphic instructions could provide insights into the techniques, tools, and organizational strategies that were employed during construction. These instructions can explain the methods used to move and lift the massive stone blocks. But with that, they could also detail the workforce's logistics, showing how labor was organized, housed, and managed to complete such a major project. We know as little about the construction itself as we do about the people who constructed it. New interpretations of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Hidden messages within temple hieroglyphs could reveal new interpretations of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the ancient guide for navigating the afterlife. This sacred text, inscribed on tomb walls and papyrus scrolls, provided spells, rituals, and instructions to help the soul overcome challenges in the underworld and reach eternal peace. These hidden messages can bring us fresh insights into the symbolic meaning behind rituals, prayers, and the journey of the soul, even revealing forgotten gods or rituals. With the help of AI to decipher complex and worn hieroglyphs, scholars could decode these hidden texts, reshaping our knowledge of ancient Egyptian spirituality and the role of death in their culture. This could help us truly understand how Egyptians viewed life, death, and eternity. 8. Hieroglyphs from the Temple of Karnak might have more information than you'd think. Hieroglyphs from the Temple of Karnak potentially hold hidden prophecies, predicting the rise and fall of future civilizations. As one of the most significant religious sites in ancient Egypt, Karnak was a spiritual and political center where pharaohs communicated with the gods. If these hieroglyphs contain a prophecy, they might reveal the Egyptians' vision of not only their future, but also that of other civilizations. The inscriptions could speak of cycles of prosperity and decline, tying these predictions to divine will, celestial events, or moral decay. AI technology could be instrumental in analyzing these complex and symbolic hieroglyphs, potentially unveiling long-buried predictions that hint at the fate of civilizations that came after them. 9. Hidden curses on tomb robbers. When King Tut's tomb was discovered in 1922, many reports spoke of a curse that would take down those who disturbed the pharaoh's final resting place. Ancient Egyptians did use curses and warnings in their tombs to protect the deceased from robbers and malicious spirits. These curses were usually inscribed on walls, stelae, or amulets, threatening severe punishments for anyone who desecrated the tomb or disturbed the resting place of the deceased. They were meant to invoke divine retribution against thieves and ensure the deceased's peaceful journey to the afterlife. King Tutankhamun's tomb, discovered by Howard Carter and his team, contained several inscriptions and artifacts, and AI could potentially help in analyzing inscriptions within tombs like King Tut's to identify any hidden or previously unnoticed curses. There have already been lives lost of the people who initially opened up the tomb, and it's possible that these hidden curses have claimed the lives of even more people that came in contact with the tomb centuries ago when it was first sealed. 10. Ancient Egyptian time travel theories. Throughout history, there have been questions about the pyramids. The way they're made seems to point to the possibility that the ancient Egyptians didn't just come up with the entire plan on their own. They had some help. Theories range from the idea of divine intervention to the possibility of contact with advanced civilizations or extraterrestrial beings. But the one that's hinted in the hieroglyphs the most is time travel. Some researchers think that ancient Egyptian texts and symbols hint at a belief in time travel or the manipulation of time. These theories propose that the Egyptians might have had access to knowledge or technology from the future, which helped them build the architecture they did. But we've only seen a few hieroglyphs that suggest this. AI can scan through all of the archives we have on hand to find any other matching hieroglyphs that might complete the story we've never had the ability to get to the bottom of on our own. 11. Hidden chambers in pyramids. Using advanced scanning techniques like muon tomography, researchers identified a hidden chamber right above the Grand Gallery and below the pyramid's main structure. This chamber, referred to as the Scan Pyramids Void, was detected through the analysis of cosmic rays that revealed anomalies in the pyramid's internal structure. The discovery is pretty major because it brings us new insights into the construction and internal design of the pyramid. We still don't really know what this chamber's purpose is, but theories range from additional storage space to possible ceremonial functions. What we do know is that even though the pyramids have been researched for so many years now, there are still so many discoveries we can make here, if we use the current technology we have and put it to good use. 12. How were the pyramids built? So precisely. Even though the pyramids were made almost 5,000 years ago, the precise construction of the pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza, shows remarkable engineering. Ancient Egyptians used advanced surveying techniques with tools like plumb bobs, leveling instruments, and sighting rods to ensure the alignment and levelness of the pyramid's base. They applied mathematical precision, using constants like pi and the golden ratio to achieve accurate measurements. A skilled and organized workforce, including architects and craftsmen, executed the construction with meticulous attention to detail. Massive stones were cut like they had industrial-level tools. They used a bunch of different construction techniques to lay the stones down. But the most shocking part of it all was that the pyramids were aligned with celestial bodies. It's something we assumed wasn't even thought about until a few hundred years ago, but they'd already done it. How? Well, that's a secret they mummified with them. 13. What was the true purpose of the pyramids? The true purpose of the pyramids has been something scientists have been trying to figure out for decades. We do know that they were built as tombs for pharaohs and elite figures in ancient Egypt, but beyond that, there are just questions. There were tombs before this too, and even if you look at the Valley of the Kings, the tombs are either all underground or made in different ways, so why would this particular tomb need to be so grand? The full extent of their purpose, including their role in reinforcing the pharaoh's divine status and political power, is something we still know almost nothing about. 14. Why was the pyramid shape chosen? The choice of the pyramid shape for these monumental structures has been a major question for years. While the pyramid's design is known to have symbolic and practical reasons, we don't really know the exact motivation behind the shape. The pyramid, with its sloping sides converging to a point, is believed to symbolize the rays of the sun, aligning with ancient Egyptian religious beliefs. This shape may have been intended to facilitate the pharaoh's soul's ascent to the heavens, linking them with the sun god Ra. Practically, the pyramid's shape also provided stability and durability, allowing the massive structures to withstand the test of time. But did they really know all of this? Did they mean for the pyramids to actually survive all of these years? 15. What happened to the pyramids' missing capstones? While we've always seen them the way they are right now, originally, the Great Pyramid of Giza and other pyramids were capped with a shiny, often gilded stone, usually made of gold or electrum. These capstones were the literal finishing touch for the pyramids. So let's just say they were really important. Over the centuries, most of these capstones have been removed or lost, but no one knows how or where they went. Historical records indicate that during the medieval period, many of the pyramid stones were taken to be used in the construction of mosques and other structures, but that may or may not have included the capstones. They were so big, they weren't exactly easy to remove whenever you needed them. With that, natural weathering and earthquakes may have contributed to the loss of these once important elements, but it's clear that they didn't erode. They're just gone. No sign left to explain where they went. 16. How old are the pyramids? Really, figuring out the exact age of the pyramids is trickier than it sounds. Most experts agree that the Great Pyramid of Giza was built around 2580–2560 BCE during Pharaoh Khufu's reign. But some researchers think there might be more to the story. Radiocarbon dating of organic materials like wood found in and around the pyramids has suggested different timelines that don't really match up with everything we've always known. There are also debates about the accuracy of traditional dating methods, with some suggesting the pyramids might be older, or that there were unknown phases of construction. So, while we have a general idea of when they were built, the exact age of the pyramids is still a bit of a mystery. 17. Why did the pyramid building stop? Pyramids used to be built for the monumental purpose of serving as tombs for pharaohs and elite figures in ancient Egypt. These grand structures were designed to honor and protect the deceased, ensuring their safe passage to the afterlife. But at some point, they totally stopped being built. Several theories try to explain why the ancient Egyptians just stopped. One possibility is that the massive economic and resource demands of constructing these grand structures became too expensive as political and economic priorities changed. Another factor could be the shift in religious beliefs, with Egyptians moving towards other burial practices like rock-cut tombs in the Valley of the Kings. The decline in central government power during the Middle and New Kingdoms might have also played a role, as local rulers began focusing on different types of construction. But these conditions were there when the Great Pyramids were being built too, yet they just abandoned the whole thing at some point in time. Could there have been a different purpose for these pyramids? One that was served and the pyramids weren't needed anymore? Egypt's questions aren't limited to the pyramids either. There have been other discoveries here too that have shocked everyone. 18. Egyptian mummies discovered after being buried for more than 2,600 years. In a discovery no one saw coming, archaeologists have unearthed 59 wooden coffins sealed for over 2,600 years in the Saqqara necropolis south of Cairo. These coffins, dating back to Egypt's 26th dynasty, were found stacked in 3 burial shafts at depths of 32 to 39 feet. On October 3, 2020, one of the coffins was opened, and in it was a mummy wrapped in intricately designed and well-preserved burial cloth. The coffins, which house the remains of Egyptian priests and prominent figures, are in excellent condition. Alongside the coffins, 28 statues of the god Ta-Soka and a bronze sculpture of the god Nefertum were also discovered. Egypt's tourism minister, Khaled Al-Anani, said that this find marks the beginning of potentially significant discoveries, and he's not wrong. If something this massive was just sitting there all this time, who knows what else is waiting there to be discovered? 19. Mummy covered in gold, Hecashepes. Archaeologists have made an unbelievable discovery near the Step Pyramid at Saqqara, Egypt, unearthing the 4,300-year-old mummy of a man named Hecashepes. This mummy stands out as the oldest known complete mummy covered in gold. Found in a sealed limestone sarcophagus at the bottom of a 50-foot burial shaft, the mummy was discovered during a year-long excavation led by Zahi Hawass. The exceptional preservation and the gold leaf covering highlight the advanced mummification techniques used at the time. Hecashepes was buried with a tunic and full of jewelry, including a headband and chest bracelet, signifying his wealth and status. 20. Embalming workshops. Archaeologists have uncovered a significant ancient embalming workshop in Saqqara, Egypt, dating back to the 26th dynasty. Located south of King Unas' pyramid, this workshop puts us face to face with ancient Egyptian mummification practices. The site includes a subterranean evisceration facility known as the Wabet and an above-ground structure likely corresponding to the Ibu. 21. The Pyramid of an Unknown Queen, near King Tut's tomb. While there had been a lot of research into the Valley of the Kings, a remarkable discovery was recently made that just shows how much more there is to learn about this place. Archaeologists unearthed the Pyramid of Queen Neith, an unknown royal figure, located about 20 miles south of Cairo. The site, near King Tutankhamun's tomb, revealed around 300 intricately decorated coffins from the New Kingdom period, featuring scenes from the Book of the Dead and the Four Sons of Horus. With that, 22 interconnected burial shafts were discovered, challenging previous assumptions that New Kingdom burials were less common at Saqqara. The excavation also uncovered a massive limestone sarcophagus and various artifacts, including games and figurines, which show that the buried individuals were likely close advisors and generals of Tutankhamun. Who else might be out there, buried in plain sight? 22. A geometric miracle tunnel. Archaeologists have uncovered an extraordinary underground tunnel at Tap Osiris Magna in Egypt, dubbed a geometric miracle. Discovered about 43 feet below ground, this tunnel extends approximately 4,281 feet through sandstone and stands 2 meters tall. Some of its parts were submerged in water because of the historical earthquakes between 320 and 1303 CE. The tunnel's exact purpose remains uncertain, but it's possible it might lead to the fully submerged tomb of Cleopatra VII. Archaeologist Kathleen Martinez, who has been exploring the site since 2004, believes the tunnel might at least offer insights into Cleopatra's burial practices. 23. Mummies with gold tongues. Not just when you thought it couldn't get more interesting, it does. Archaeologists have recently uncovered mummies with gold tongues. They thought gold was like the flesh of the gods, so by placing a gold foil tongue in the deceased's mouth, they believed it would help the person talk in the afterlife, especially to Osiris, the god of the underworld. The gold tongues were inserted during a 70-day mummification process, so it wasn't done for every single person. The fact that these tongues have stood the test of time and are still in great shape today tells us a lot about how great the workmanship was at the time. 24. First Astronomical Observatory. Archaeologists have uncovered what might be the first and largest astronomical observatory in ancient Egypt. The discovery was made at the Buto Temple in the Tel El Farain site, Kafr el-Sheikh Governorate. Dating back to the 6th century BCE, this find reveals the sophisticated astronomical knowledge of the ancient Egyptians. The observatory, built from mud brick and covering about 9,950 square feet, features an L-shaped central hall with an east-facing entrance to get full sunlight at specific times. A key discovery is a slanted stone sundial, or shadow clock, made from limestone slabs to track the sun's movement. 25. Tomb Complex of Panesi. The tomb complex of Panesi, uncovered in Saqqara, Egypt, dates back to around 1250 BCE during Pharaoh Ramses II's reign. Discovered by a Dutch-Italian team working with Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, this site is a significant archaeological find. The complex is like a freestanding temple, measuring roughly 13.4 by 8.2 meters. It features an entrance, a courtyard with columned porticos, and a shaft leading to underground burial chambers. Inside, there are 3 chapels and a burial chamber about 16 meters below ground. The walls are full of colorful reliefs showing Panesi, his wife Baya, who was a singer of Amun, and different priests in religious rituals. The excavation also revealed 4 smaller chapels nearby, including one for Yuyu, a gold foil maker for the pharaoh. It brings us another look into the lives of the kings that seemed so high up above everyone else that they wouldn't possibly have a friendship or people close to them that meant something to them. With all that has already been discovered in Egypt at this point, do you think there's any room for more discoveries?